We've seen AI evolve extremely fast in the past few years. It started with text generation, then with image generation, and now it's moved on to video generation. As someone who works in the film industry, fuck. If you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, OpenAI, the company responsible for ChatGPT and DALL-E, has revealed Sora. This program is essentially a text-to-video model, so you give it a prompt and it'll generate a video up to 1 minute long based on what you tell it. The capability of this thing is pretty nuts. What I'm seeing from the animations looks like stuff that you'd see from leading animation studios, but the crazier thing is that it can generate realistic videos with a lot of detail. Of course, there are some glaring errors in these videos. It still has a lot of problem with fingers, not to mention sometimes the legs will double step, but I gotta be honest, the detail is pretty high quality here. My immediate reaction is this is probably the biggest leap with AI we've seen so far. To me, text generation was a step. The image generation was a jump. This feels like a leap. I thought that we had at least another solid year before we start to see things like this, but it's been a matter of months since image generation came out, and now we're already seeing videos. It's only going to continue to improve, and this really feels like that Black Mirror episode. I think it's like Joan is awful. We're starting to feel like that. I worry about this getting in the hands of the wrong people because it can really produce negative things. If we think about it, deep fakes are already out there, and now this is only going to make them even crazier. Not to mention, think about your grandparents. Are they going to be able to decipher reality from AI video? Be honest right now. Are they really going to be able to do it? That alone is worrisome. And one could argue that we've been seeing CGI and fake stuff for decades. That stuff's been around. But the difference is that has required somebody that has gone through the studying and gone through the training to be able to make these things, like someone that knows how to use programs or even know what programs to use, someone that has the creative vision and know how to generate those things and how to make it realistic. That takes all of that background training and all of that expertise, but this is essentially being that for you. The barrier of entry has always been so high for things like this, but AI is essentially lowering that barrier of entry to the point that the average everyday person, pending that they can communicate what they want, can tell this program what it wants to see and it'll generate it. That kind of power should not be accessible to anyone and everyone. And we know it exists, and now it's not going anywhere. And I'm sure executives and CEOs are salivating at this because they see it as an opportunity to downgrade and cut their workforce yet again. I mean, we've been seeing jobs cut pretty much consistently for the past several months. But CEOs and executives, let me remind you that you hired these people to delegate your tasks to and handle the things that you do not have either the capabilities or time and resources to do. And these are things that most likely you do not know how to do yourself or without the right people. AI generated work, as it stands right now, is only as powerful as the concept in which it is fed. I'll go into detail about this. If you give it something that's so lazy, generic, lacks detail, or maybe just lacks sentences in general, you just give it a couple sentences and expect it to generate this huge result, it's gonna give you something that's lazy, something that's not very good, something that's very general and broad. But if you go into detail about something you want, and it's coming from somebody that's in the industry and knows exactly what details to include and exactly how things need to look down to the very tiny little things, you're gonna get an extravagant result. So as it stands right now, how am I personally feeling now that I've seen what AI is capable of with video? I think faceless YouTube channels are about to go crazy. That's what I think, but I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I think this is the beginning of the end for a lot of videographers. I think we're probably 2 to 3 leaps away from massive disruption in the video industry. If you really boil it down, videos are comprised of 2 things. 1, someone's technical ability, and 2, a story. The technical ability, consider it this massive umbrella of things, which is lighting, audio, editing, camera gear, that type of stuff. You need to understand how audio and visuals work together, and I think that's going to be the first thing impacted by AI. Right now, Adobe Audition has an AI like podcasting tool that you can feed it like iPhone audio, and it will turn it into quote unquote studio level audio. The key thing that's left is a story. The heart and soul of any good piece of content is a story. That's what you need. And that, I think, is going to be the thing that separates the good videographers from the great videographers. The production barrier of entry has been lowered so much that the average person can pretty much pick up their iPhone and create something that looks halfway decent. Right now, the average everyday person probably doesn't know how to build a story and sequence pieces together to capture attention, to build connection, to evoke emotion, and to leave an impact. Pretty visuals will no longer be enough to stand out. You're gonna need a story. I also think we need laws and regulations on this stuff. Like yesterday, there need to be protections in place. That's not up for debate. What are your thoughts on this groundbreaking reveal? Other videographers, are you guys feeling nervous? Are you feeling excited? I'm curious to see how this is gonna fit into my workflow, but I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know. We'll see. I'll see you guys in the next one.